Hello, all my beautiful crafters. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Danielle with Danielle's Craft Diary. This is my first floss tube again. So I used to do floss tubes back when the world stopped turning, you know what I'm talking about. And I was doing them on a regular basis and I loved it. But then when the world started to go back to normal, it just got to be a little too much. I deleted that channel and here I am. So this channel has a lot of other videos on it. I do a lot of other things like paper crafts and quilting and embroidery and bag making, other sewing projects. So if you want to check those out, I have some other videos on here about that. But I'm gonna show you today my WIPs for 2025 and previous years. Some of them have made the list a couple times now. And my plans for 2026. I also will show you some of the other things that I do, but I'll put those to the end in case you don't care about sewing and quilting and stuff like that. But I'm really excited to show you. I got my bug back for cross stitch. I wasn't doing it for a little while. I have issues with my neck, and sometimes staring down will really irritate my neck, so I wasn't doing nearly as much as I would have liked to be doing, and also I didn't have a lot of sit down time, so I wasn't doing as much as I wanted to. But I've got the bug again and I'm trying to cross stitch every single day, at night or in the morning for at least an hour. And the last 2 weeks I finished 3 projects, so I'm really excited about that. And then I planned out my 2026, so I'm going to show you my WIPs. Well, let me show you the ones that I just finished. So this was the first one that I did in the last couple weeks, last 2 or 3 weeks. This is Primrose Cottage. I think it's called Cup of Cheer. And this was such a quick stitch. It was just what I needed to get me back excited into cross stitching. I've cross stitched all year, but I just haven't been like, you know, looking forward to getting up every morning and saying, oh, I want to cross stitch in the morning before I get my day started. And that's how I used to be. So I was really excited about this one. I also did this one on a 14 count, which I don't usually stitch on 14 count. And I think because it was 14 count, it was just so easy and it was just so pleasant. So I turned it into a pillow and I'm really happy with it. And my friend and my mom have talked about wanting to start to cross stitch. So I sent my friend all the stuff that she would need for this one, and she ordered it, and she's just gotta start now. But I thought this was a really good pattern for somebody to start with because Primrose Cottage patterns are awesome. They're in color, they're so easy to see, they're great for beginners, but they're also so much fun for those of us who are experienced. This is another one of their patterns. This is Joy to the World. And this is because I was watching Java Girl stitches. Even though I wasn't cross-stitching as much this year, I still watched Floss Tube. I always have something on in the background when I'm sewing or doing whatever in my craft room. And I was watching her, and she's doing a hashtag sew along for the reason for the season is the hashtag. And I thought that was a great stitch along to do. Did I say sew along? Stitch along. Whatever. So I did this one also, The Lord is My Shepherd, and I was thinking this one would make a great pillow, but I already made a pillow. So I have to figure out what to do with this one. I'll figure something out, but this was another really great stitch, super easy. It's all 3 of them are on the same 14 count Ada, and I really liked it. So I'm not going to make it into a pillow though because I don't have that many places to put pillows, and I have a golden retriever who loves to retrieve pillows, so I can't put them anywhere that he can reach because he will run around with it. He likes to greet people with something in his mouth all the time, and it's usually a pillow. So we don't do pillows at his level. So I'll have to figure something else out for it. But let me just show you. I have all my WIPs written down. I went through everything the other night. I got everything out and went through everything, and I wrote everything down. I work on list. That's how my brain operates. My brain goes at 150 miles an hour, 24/7, 365. So I know some of you are like that too. You can't sit still, and that's why you cross stitch, because when you're forced to sit still, your hands have to keep going. So I work really well with list. So I got all my WIPs out and I put them on a list. And then I divide them out into what month I think they'll fit well into. And then what I do is for that month, I will write them on that month for what I want to finish. This helps me. I know that I'm not going to do it 100%, and I'm okay with that. But I get such satisfaction out of crossing things off my list. Even if I get half of these off of my list, I feel like I've accomplished a lot. So I don't hold myself to finish the list. It's just there as a guide for me, and things will get added to the list. But for me, that works really well to sort out all of the noise that goes on in my head, to be able to visually put it there, see it, and check it off. Now, when I pulled these WIPs out, I was so surprised that I only had 15 or 16. I think I ended up with 16. And I was really surprised that, number one, it wasn't that many. I thought it was going to be more like 30. And number two, there were some of them that were really far along. I was really excited because I did work on some of the stuff this year, but not as much as I thought. So some of them are going to be easy to check off the list. One of them will be this one. This calendar creates June. Now, I won't display this for June. It doesn't have June on it anywhere. But this is strawberries, and our strawberry season here in Florida is not in June. We can't grow strawberries in June here. Our strawberries are growing. Some farms have them now, but really, like, we have a huge strawberry festival in February. So that's our big strawberry month. But December, January, February, that's when I'll be making a ton of strawberry jam and freezing strawberries, and that's when I will display this. So I want to get this done sooner rather than later so that I can get it up during our strawberry season. And I was so excited when I pulled it out of my project bag because I have like almost all of the white done. I like to do the white first, because if I'm using red, because that red, like, it doesn't bleed, it doesn't pill, it does something, like it tints the white if you don't do the white first. You guys know what I'm talking about? So I like to do the white first, and just get it out of the way. But I also make my own project bags, and some of these I started making 6.5 years ago when I really got back into cross stitch. So some of them look like they're 6.5 years old, but I've been making a lot of folios lately, and I'll show you those as we go along. But I like to, some of them keep like themed. Oh, I should probably show you my current WIP. This is my folio. This is my medium size folio. So I make these bigger so that you can fit a full 8.5 by 11 pattern in here, and it's protected by the clear vinyl. And then there's a pocket back there too, and then there's a pocket back there, and then there's a zipper here. And I sell these in my Etsy shop. My Etsy shop is Danielle's Craft Diary. I'll show you towards the end of the video after my WIP Parade. I will show you the folios that I currently have available, but I'm making more every day. I try. I try to make more every day. So let me show you this one. This is Jack Frost Tree Farm, and I don't have the full-size picture in here because they were individual patterns. There are 6 of these. Each one is an individual pattern, and then there's a big piece that went across the top that says Jack Frost Tree Farm. I finished that one years ago, and I was going to do it in 3 separate pieces, so that piece, and then one row, and then the other row. But when I started on this, I decided to make this one piece. Now I wish that I made the whole thing one piece, but what's done is done. So I'm really close to finishing this. I was up at 3:45 this morning because I have insomnia, and I was excited to work on it. If I'm a really light sleeper, so if anything wakes me up, I'm up and I'm done. So I was up hoping to put a big dent in that, and hopefully I will finish it in the next couple days so that that can be one that doesn't go into 2026. Now this one I started this year, and I shouldn't have, because I was trying not to start any new projects. I was trying to finish. This was like my year of WIPs as far as my quilts and all my projects. But I had to, and I'll tell you why. So I made this folio. This was the first folio that I made. So this is my prototype right here. And I made this one. Oops. I made this one because I wanted to keep the full pattern protected. So we live in Tampa, and we go down to the beach often. Not all the time, but enough. And when we do, I'll bring my cross stitch, and we sit on the beach, and I will cross stitch, and it gets windy at the beach. So I don't want sand or the wind or anything else getting on my pattern, and I can put this open on my lap. I have my full pattern here, and then I have my floss, and again, I have pockets back here and pockets back here. So this was perfect for me, but this was, like I said, this was my first one that I made, so I wanted to get all my measurements right and stuff, so I ended up keeping it. But the reason I started this one, it's the Quilted Scarecrow by Lori Holt, is because for the past couple years, my friends and I have met out at Missouri Star Quilt Company in Missouri, and Hamilton, Missouri, and we rent one of the apartments above the stores for a week, and we take our cross stitch, we take our sewing and stuff with us, and we just sew. We don't even get dressed most days, stand up, or we get dressed, we change from one set of pajamas to the next. I made that quilt, the actual quilt, while we were there, start to finish, 3 days. That's how, if you've seen it, it's a pretty decent sized quilt, and I made it in 3 days because we didn't go anywhere. We'd get up in the morning and sew, and it was a lot of fun. But I left it there to be quilted, and when they sent it back, I had seen in one of their posts or something, they were looking for people to send in pictures of quilts that they had made from their patterns. And I sent a picture of the quilt, and I said, well, this isn't one of your patterns. This is Lori Holt's, the Quilted Scarecrow. But I made it while I was at your place, like in your retreat center. We weren't in the big retreat, we were in a mini retreat. And it was just us, just the ones that knew each other, our friends. And I said, you know, I made it while we were there, and I had a picture in the apartment holding it up and stuff. I said, and I left it there to be quilted. And they put it in the magazine. So if you get the Block magazine, it's in 2 issues ago. It was in that magazine. So that's my claim to fame. And it's very exciting. It was really exciting when I got an email saying like, hey, we want to send you a copy of it because, you know, we put you in there. So that was a lot of fun. So I wanted to start the cross stitch so that it matches the quilt. This is another calendar crate, Stitching with the Housewives, and this is another one that for us here in Florida doesn't match. August is not our sunflower season. You can still grow sunflowers in August here though, but the heat's it can be a little intense for the sunflowers then. But I have sunflowers in my garden right now, and it's 2 days before Thanksgiving. So if you're a gardener or you're interested in gardening in Florida, I have a gardening page, Instagram page. It's called Gardening with George. That's my German Shepherd. One of my German Shepherds is George, and I just post. You know, I've learned about gardening since I've lived in Florida, and it's really interesting. And I couldn't grow a thing before I lived here, and I really kind of ran with it. So if you're interested in gardening, or just interested in, you know, like what do we grow in Florida in November when nobody else is growing things? You know, you guys wintered over your flower beds, and here I am waiting for my bananas to come down and my tomatoes to ripen, and cutting lettuce every day out in the garden and picking beans. So anyhow, if you want to follow me on Instagram, I have an Instagram called Gardening with George. I have a YouTube, Gardening with George, also, but I don't really do videos there. I should, but I don't. So this is my progress on this one, And I will display this in the fall here when I'm done with it instead of in August. So this will be more of like a September, October, November for me. But I was really pleasantly surprised when I opened this one up and saw how far along I was. So I know I can get this one done for 2026. Big reason I'm doing this video is for accountability for myself, so I can go back and say, oh, I said that out loud, so I better get that done. Here's my little tiny project bag when I started making them when I got back into cross stitch. Now I'm into these big folios instead, but this was a pattern by Hands On Design, Chock full series. She did 4. I think there are 4 different seasons. Actually, maybe there's more than 4. Because there's Christmas and Easter and Halloween. Actually, maybe there's one for every month. Harvest Chock full. I don't think I have every month. But I know I've done one. And this piece was just randomly in a bag. And I didn't know where it was. I'm very organized, so it was very upsetting to me that I just had this random piece of cloth and some stitches in it, and I didn't know what it went with, so I matched it up and figured out that it came from this pattern. So I'll finish this, but I have to look and see now that I'm thinking about it. I thought it was just seasonal. I thought maybe there were 4, but there's not, because I know for sure that I have an Easter one too. So maybe she did one for every month. I'll have to see. So I used to do the Fat Quarter Shop Stitch Quarterly subscription box, which is great. I loved it, but I started just having piles of them all over the place, and I canceled it. But it's a great way to get you out of your comfort zone if you want something different that you would never pick, because this feels like home. I would have never chosen this fabric. I mean, not this fabric, this pattern. It doesn't really fit my decor, but it was fun. Actually, this is not a Stitch Quarterly. This was a mystery now that I'm looking at it, because they have that part blocked out. I thought maybe it was Stitch Quarterly because it has the matching bag. See, this is what happens when you have stuff that's lingering on for so long, you forget where it came from or why you bought it. But anyhow, that's how far I am, and I'll finish it, probably. Maybe I'll just take the little bird and call it finished, and then unpack the rest of it. I don't know. I can do it. I started it, I can do it. Okay, here's another folio, and this was another one of my first ones that I made. So this pattern was funny because somebody posted it in one of the cross stitch groups, like, I don't know, quite a few years ago. The copyright on it is 2020. So it is Kathy, Hands On Design, winter chalkboard, and she did this pattern for a magazine, and I forget what magazine it was, but the copyright on it says Craftways Corporation. But if you want this and you Google it, it'll show you. It's a PDF download. That's the only way that you can get it. At least it was when I got it. That was the only way that you could get it. It was like $5 or $7. But because somebody posted it, everybody wanted it, and then Kathy ended up publishing, like creating one for every season. So she did a chalkboard for every season after that, and this was, like I said, 2020. So I've had this one on my list for a while. That's as far as I've gotten. But this is a 32 count Lugana. I like Lugana. 32 count is a little tough for me because even though I'm only 22, my eyes are getting older and those holes are really small. Not only that, but those white dots, they're not printed. They're not like hard paint, but they definitely squish your boxes together, so you have to break through them. It's some type of paint on there. I stitch in hand, but with that I have to put it in a frame because I put it in a Q-snap because it stretches those holes a little bit more for me. So I love the pattern. Maybe I should just start it over on a cloth that I like instead, because I think that's my hesitation with it. I'm like, hey, I don't feel like stitching on that today. I don't feel like putting that strain on my eyes. So next, I started cross stitching again about 6.5 years ago. We were moving from North Carolina to Florida, and all of my stuff was packed, and I can't sit still. And I didn't have anything to keep my hands busy at night. I didn't want to knit socks. We were moving to Florida. I didn't want to crochet blankets. We were moving to Florida. Like, all of those things I didn't need anymore. So I did not want to do them. I didn't have joy doing them. So I said, well, let me cross stitch. Somebody had taught me how to cross stitch when I was really young, maybe like 10 or 12 years old. And I did it for a little while when I was young, and I did maybe like one piece in my early 20s, and that was it. So when I started again about 6.5 years ago, it was like, whoosh, like, you guys know, like, it's a totally different world out there. The patterns, the cloth, the floss, the everything. It's no longer like your grandma's hobby. And I could not believe everything that was out there. It was absolutely insane. So this was probably maybe the third piece that I had picked up after I started cross stitching again. And at that time, like, it was a big piece for me because I had done like 2 other small pieces on Aida. So this is a Glendon Place, and you could see, I mean, look what I've done to this poor pattern. That's before I realized that I should make a copy of my pattern, a working copy, and use that instead of the actual pattern. But I haven't gotten very far on it. But when I was stitching it, this is when I used to just stitch one project at a time, and I was very happy with myself about that. But I enjoyed stitching as much as I did, and this was my first piece that wasn't on Aida, I'm pretty sure. This is a 28 count Lugana, and I really enjoyed stitching on this. And Lugana is probably my favorite to stitch on now. So I'll finish that one day. I really will. I have a ton of her patterns. She is such an amazing designer, and she's an awesome person. Her name is Cheryl. She doesn't live far from me at all. I've ordered directly from her a couple times, and she just has the most amazing patterns. I love her Halloween stuff. I'm doing her nativity one for 2026. Garon, Stitchery. I just watched his floss tube the other night, and Gary held up the nativity scene that she designed, and it's an older pattern because I had emailed her and asking her for the pattern. He was sold out, so I emailed her, and she said it's an older pattern, but she had it, so I can order it directly from her. Well, the cloth that he was stitching it on, he had designed specifically for that, and it's just amazing. I can't even describe it. If you are interested in stitching a nativity scene, oh my goodness, please go watch his latest video. That piece is gorgeous, and he doesn't even have the beads on it yet. A lot of her patterns will have beads. They're optional. You don't have to put them on, but I haven't been that wowed in a long time about a pattern. So I asked for it for Christmas, and I know that I got it because my husband was raving about the customer service from Garon Stitchery, because he thought that the items came from different places. So like, he clicked the link that I sent him and ordered it, and then he clicked the next link and ordered it and didn't realize that they were from the same place. And then next morning, he said he never even said a word. The next morning, he had a refund for the additional shipping. So they caught that this poor man is probably buying this stuff for his wife for Christmas, has no idea what he's doing, combined the order and refunded the difference in the shipping without him saying a word. So if that's not like A+ customer service for you, I don't know what is. But anyway, so I know for sure that I'm getting that for Christmas, and I cannot wait to start it. And I've allowed myself to say, okay, I'm going to start that in 2026, even if I don't have all these WIPs done. So I'm going to work on that one all year long. This, I don't know what happened. This one, and I'll show you one more. I don't know what happened. I'm really organized. I swear I am. Look, you can see. Here's my proof. I don't know what happened with these two things. I did these Cottage of the Month by Country Cottage Needleworks, And I loved these. I stayed right on top of them every month. I was popping these things out. They are so nice, and they're a good size. They're not like tiny, tiny, and they're not massive, but they're such a great size, such a fun stitch. And somehow, I don't know what I did in September, but I would stitch them the month before. So I don't know what I did in August that I didn't stitch September. And I don't know what I did in September that I didn't stitch October. But for some reason, I have these two in a project bag. And I said, well, that's weird. Maybe I just didn't take the patterns out. And I went and looked where I have all the finished ones. And sure enough, there's no October and there's no September. So I'm going to have to do those. They won't take too long. They're nice stitches. Those are nice like vacation stitches because you can just do them when you're on vacation and come back with a finished project. So I will get those done, and I'm stitching those with the sulky threads. I really like them. So if you haven't stitched with sulky, try it. It's the 12 weight, the little petite cottons, and one strand of this, you don't pull it apart, but one strand is 2 strands of DMC or Classic Color Works. So you're only stitching with one strand, which is really nice. So, but the problem is if you're stitching on super high counts where you would stitch with one strand of DMC or Classic Color Works or Weeks Dye or whatever you stitch with, this will be too thick then. But it doesn't feel thick when you're stitching with it, but it's really cool to stitch with. I like it. I like it a lot. So if you haven't and you want to try something new, give it a shot. Start with a pattern that only has a couple colors so you can just try it out. But here's another project bag that I made. So on that note of not knowing what I was doing one fall, I don't even know where the pattern is for this one, but I found this project bag and I'm like, what is this? And I realized it is my year of celebration by Hands-On Design. I did every month except for October. So clearly I was busy in August and September of whatever year I started these. This is, again, is a tiny little one. That won't take long. I could seriously do that like watching 2 movies or binge watching something on Netflix. I just need to get in the mood to do it, and that'll be a nice, satisfying one to check off of my list. This one I need your help with. So way back when the world stopped turning, we'll just call it that, there were 2 ladies. This was when I was doing floss tubes. I was so into like doing the Zoom meetings and stuff, and I was really, really in the cross stitch world. And there were 2 ladies, and I can't remember who it was. They were doing a magazine challenge, and they would give you a word that was themed for that month, for whatever. So say the word was witch. You would go through your magazines, your cross-stitch magazines, and you would pick a pattern that started with or had something that had to do with the letter W, and then something that had to do with the letter I, and then the letter T, and the letter C, and the letter H. And the point was that you would start stitching from the magazines that you buy, because if you're like me, you buy the magazines and then you put them on your shelf and you forget about them. So it was a lot of fun, and I stitched quite a few things out of the magazines. I really, really liked it. I can't remember who did it, and I would love to see if they were still doing it, because it was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I deleted that channel that I was doing my floss tubes on, so I can't even go back and like watch my old videos because I don't keep the videos on my iPad or anything. But I can't even go back to watch my own videos to see who it was. But anyhow, I had this pattern from that challenge, and I've thought about giving up on this because I'm only a little ways in, like literally a little ways in. But I'm going to keep going because it is a smaller pattern, and this can be one that I can outline and do a lot of fill. So when you need that kind of like mindless stitching, that can be a couple sessions of just that mindless stitching. So I'm going to keep at it, but honestly, if it doesn't get off my WIP list in 2026, it might permanently get off and not crossed off, not checked off, just thrown off. So we will see. This was another one I was really excited when I pulled it out because I forgot how much I worked on it this year. And I love this one. I love 4th of July. Not like the holiday. I don't care about fireworks, stuff like that. But I love decorating for the 4th of July. I love the patriotic colors. And I think it's because, and just like Halloween, like it's one of those celebrations that doesn't have all the stress involved. I mean, besides the fireworks, but it doesn't have, you don't have to buy gifts. You don't have to do, big preparation for cooking. You throw some burgers on the grill if you're going to have people over or whatever. So it's one of those occasions that I love to decorate for. So I wanted to make this. I will not make it into a pillow because of my retrieving pillow dog. Country Cottage Needleworks, and this is Liberty Lane. And I changed the colors because those colors are pretty muted and I wanted them to be more bold, so I changed them. And I was so happy when I pulled this out of my bag the other day because I said, oh wow, I forgot that I had worked on it so much this year. I was hoping that I would finish it this year, but I didn't. This is 28 count Monaco, and I stained this myself. I will tea stain or coffee stain it and then bake it in the oven. Don't leave your house and don't let it touch the sides. But I bake it in the oven and that's how it gets the marks like that on it. But I've been baking fabric for 22 years. I used to make a lot of primitives. I used to sew a lot of primitive dolls, and I was baking muslin back before it was a thing. So my husband will say, oh, what are you baking? Because I coffee stain it and then stick it in the oven. What are you baking? Fabric. So always a little bit of disappointment from him about baking fabric, but it's all right. So if you're looking for like a really prim, grungy look, you can do that. If you want to know more about it, you can leave me a comment down below. Maybe I'll do a quick video to show you how I do it. I do have a video on my channel about dyeing paper because I also do paper crafts and junk journals, and I did do a video about how to dye paper. So it's the same concept with the fabric, totally the same. Keep the temperature low, low and slow. Don't let it touch the sides of your oven. Don't put it up to the heating element, and don't leave it unattended. Stay, within the vicinity of it, and if you really need to, make sure you have a fire extinguisher. But it's, I've been doing it for years, and if you're well aware that it's in there, you should be fine. Next one is Silver Creek Sampler. Okay, we'll try that one again. Silver Creek Samplers. And I saw Priscilla and Chelsea doing this one. Priscilla did color changes on this. This was back when she was always still showing projects that she was working on, and now they're just so busy with their own projects that you really don't see. I haven't watched them as much lately, but you really don't see them showing other projects that they were working on. But she did the color change on that, so I went on her blog and checked it out and just kind of matched my colors to what she was doing. I really like this one, but again, sometimes the linen is, I just have to be in the mood to stitch on the linen. I will finish that, hopefully in 2026, but that one I will definitely finish at some point. I'm hoping to get all these finished in 2026. Maybe I'll do like a 3-to-1 ratio. For every 3 projects I finish, I can start one. I don't know, maybe. This one I started this year because I had such a Halloween itch, and the only Halloween WIP I had was that Glendon Place, and I knew I wouldn't be able to finish that one this year. So I said, you know what, I'll start something quick. And so I got Primrose Cottage, Toil and, is that Toil? Is that how you say it? Toil? Toil and Trouble. And I started stitching this one, but then of course I got busy, so in the WIP pile it goes. I think I need a new printer. What do you guys think? That's not the screen, it's the printer. I cleaned the heads and stuff on it, but it's still, I got it for years, so I think I got my money's worth out of it. Anywho, I don't care because it's fine. that's as far as I got, and I think I did this in like 2 hours, so like in one sitting. So this will be a quick stitch when I get back to it, but I have moved on from the fall, so it will not be anytime soon. But I am hoping to finish that one in 2026. I also have a lot of quilt whips, but I haven't put them on my list yet. I think I'll do a video when I do those for accountability. But those are a little bit harder because, you know, holding up your quilt whip is a little bit more challenging than holding up your cross-stitch whip. And I think this is my final whip. Let me tell you. Let's talk about this one. So, you guys know about Nashville Needlework Market, right? And it was a thing for me. It was like I was at the computer waiting for those releases. I was watching people, their live videos and stuff. Like I was there with them and I'm writing down everything that I want. And then the second it's released, I'm ordering it. This was one of those. Kringles. Do you guys remember this one? This is it Country Cottage or Little House Needleworks? Diane. So Little House. This is Little House Needleworks. I started working on it not long after I got it. Anybody want to tell me what year it was? Because I don't want to look it up. I'm pretty sure it was 5 years ago. I don't want to look. I don't want to know. And every year I tell myself, this is the year. This is the year I'm going to finish it. Well, I think 2026 is going to be the year. I did do this room this year. I'm halfway done with this room. I have one more room to go and then the roof. So if I work on this, if I break it down, I broke it down last year, but I didn't follow my plan. If I break it down, I can get it done this year. In 2026, I can get it done because I definitely want to frame this one. So I want to be able to get it done in plenty of time to have it framed and then have it displayed and be able to enjoy it for Christmas next year, for like at least a solid month before Christmas, from like the day after Thanksgiving all the way through Christmas. So that one is definitely on my list. All right, so those are all my whips for 2026. So hold me accountable that I'll get at least half. Let's say at least half of them done. I will be so happy if I get half or more. But just having everything written down and knowing, you know, I thought I had like 30 and knowing that I'd have half of that, so much better. So much better. I want to finish this series this year too. So these aren't whips because I didn't start them yet. Let me show you my bag. Look at this bag. If you sew, I absolutely love this bag. This is a By Annie's bag. It is called Everything in Its Place, I think 2.0. But it has all of these folders in it, and you can make them however you want. So it has a mesh sleeve that my golden retriever picked my bag up by. Nice. That's a detail that I put in. It's very unique. So you can design the folding parts, these folders, any way that you want. So I did like one of each that was in the pattern. So this is a nice big sleeve that you could put a full-size pattern in and still be able to see it. And then there are zipper pockets, mesh pockets, more zipper pockets. You can make them smaller, you can make them bigger. More mesh pockets, but mesh with a zipper. More zippers, mesh. And the really cool thing is that you can take them out individually. So you just unvelcro that, and then you could take these out. So if you wanted to, you could really just make like one bag and then a ton of inserts and just pull your inserts out and strap them in there. We cruise a lot. And I made this bag because when we cruise, I can put everything in here for me personally. Like, I could put my cross-stitch project, I could put my iPad, I could put my Kindle, I could put my hardcover book, my headphones, my everything. And This is how it folds up. And then you have a zipper pocket here and a slip pocket in the back. I am going to make another one of these because this I used fusible fleece in, and it's a little flimsy. So I'm gonna make another one at some point, and I'm gonna make it with a little bit harder stabilizer in there, like maybe like a flex foam or something like that. But I mean, I put punch needle, I put everything in here because my philosophy is that if you're going to be away from your stuff and you're like me and you can't sit still, I have to bring enough stuff so that if I'm lost at sea for 3 months, I will never get bored. And that's, I pack it all right into here instead of a giant suitcase. And if it fits, it ships with me on the ship. So anyhow, this is the Trucking Along series from Stitching with the Housewives. And I bought this for the monthly club that Fat Quarter Shop was doing when it was released, whenever that was. And I don't know if there's a copyright date on here, but I did the monthly kit. So they sent you the floss. This is 2020, it says, is the copyright date. So I did quite a few. I did 5. I have 7 left. My friend is stitching them all because she did the club also. She doesn't have whips like I do, but she's been knocking these out, and every time she's knocking them out, she's sending me a picture of them, and I'm like, oh, I want to finish them. So I want to finish that series this year. Well, 2026. I want to finish that series. So I put them all in here so that when we cruise again, they're already in here. I won't take all of them. I'll just take whichever one I'm going to work on. But that is that's it for cross stitch. Is it? What is this? This one's on the floor. I think I just dropped it though. Yeah, I did. It was Kringles. Okay, so that's it for my whips. If that's all that you're here for, thanks so much for joining. If you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe button, because then other people will find me and maybe they'll want to watch too and see all the craziness that I have. But I want to show you a couple other things that I do. So what do you want to see first? You want to see the folios? You know what? Let me show you my junk journals real quick first, just because they're right here on the top, and then I can move them out of the way. So I make junk journals, and I thought I had one that wasn't in the plastic, but I make junk journals because I used to scrapbook like 12 by 12 pages, and that's a little much for me now. And I don't know that anybody really, like, even going through the scrapbooks, I would have like little things of, you know, what we did or what we saw or something. But for me, I really love the junk journaling now, because when we go on a cruise or on a trip, I bring one of these with me and I journal every single day in it about what we did. And then if I go back and read it, I'm like, oh wow, I'm so glad I wrote that down because I totally forgot about that. And what I do is I will come home and print the pictures, because the pictures are in date order on my phone, so I know what will match. Like, I'll leave pages blank in the journal, and I'll come home, I'll print my pictures, and then I just go and glue them in, and then I'll stick some other things in there. So I'll flip through here really quick and show you. This was from last November. My friend and I went on a quilting cruise, and this was the journal that I took for the quilting cruise. And so I always put like what ship we were on and the itinerary. Like, I cut it out of the daily itineraries that they give you. So then I'll put you know, the pictures and things like that in here. And there's my friend Christine. And so we went on the cruise together, and all different things, and then I'll decorate them and like embellish them. But I always put, you know, like what we did that day, and I hand dye the paper. This is the paper that I was talking about. I have a tutorial on how to do this. This is just regular photocopy paper, and then I stain it, and I put it in the oven and I bake it. So this lets you use up like so many scraps and things, and you could put little trinkets in there, and it's so much fun. I really love this, and I think these are so much, for me, so much more, I don't know what I want to say, but like I don't feel as overwhelmed doing these as I do like, oh, I've got to do a whole 12 by 12 album, because I have a lot of those 12 by 12 albums, and I just feel like for me, like this is so much easier. I also, so I do these for trips, but then, so if you're familiar with Tim Holtz, he does these, and I'm not positive that that's one of his, I'm pretty sure that it is, but he does these, Christine calls them, my friend Christine calls them the creepy people, but he does these people cutouts. I don't know if I have any other ones in here, but I always stick them in the albums because I want down the road, you know, like these. Like, I want down the road for my grandkids, my great-grandkids, somebody to go through all this and be like, who are these people? And they're nobody to me. They're just these printouts that he does of these old pictures. And sometimes they're actually like cut out into the shapes of the people. I know I have them in some other ones. But the name is slipping my mind. It'll come to me, and then I'll just randomly insert it somewhere. But I put those things in here, kind of like an Easter egg, you know? So down the road, my kids are like, who are those people? My kids won't do it, but you know, the grandkids or something, who are those people? Were they on the cruise? Why do they look so much? Why does that picture look so much older than the other one? So I just like to be funny and stick them in there. But anyway, when this is done, I have them all lined up together. So if I ever want to, I could just pull it out. And then some of the cruises, we've gone on themed cruises. My husband's a huge Yankees fan and Tampa Bay Bucks fan, so we've gone on cruises that are Tampa Bay Bucks and New York Yankees. Well, Legends of Baseball, they call that one. So different baseball players, but mostly New York Yankees, retired guys. And I'll leave room in those for my husband, and he'll write in there, you know, about when he was playing baseball with so-and-so, you know, on the beach. And, you know, I'll print out a picture of that when somebody pitched him, you know, the ball and he hit it, and some retired Yankee and whatever. So he's able to record his stuff in there too. But the other thing that I do, not only for vacations, I also do them for December. So there's a thing called Daily December. If you look up the hashtag Daily December or YouTube Daily December, you'll come up with things. And people do it totally different ways. There's like no rules to it. But I make journals for Daily December also. And I have these. There's a lot of plastic noise. Sorry, I plastic these up as soon as I get done making them. But I'll open one up and I'll show you, because I have a lot of these in my Etsy shop. I have regular, like everyday ones also, but I have a lot of the Daily Decembers in there also that are Christmas December themed. So this is what I sell in my shop, and this is the same size as that one. But you can see there's nothing in it versus when I get done with it. So if you are a picture taker, if you like little trinkets and keeping memorabilia and things like that, these are a lot of fun for that. So let me just show you inside what it looks like, and then you can decorate it all up. So they're fabric covered, and then inside there's the hand-dyed paper, and then I'll have cardstock in there that you can use your distress sprays on, or some of them are on both sides, some of them are not on both sides. So there's, you know, it's like scrapbook paper in there, and you could just embellish and write. And the way that I do it is every day in December, I journal, because December goes by so fast and so crazy for most people. And I don't care if it's just like, hey, I finished this project today, or I cooked this, or I'm getting ready for this. It's just something to kind of like slow my brain down, say this is what I did today. And then I have a memory of not only Christmas, but, you know, who's visiting, who are we visiting, what went on, you know, what did we do, what did we see? There's so much to do in the month of December, so much to be grateful for. I really, really want to remember that, and that's why I do Daily December, but I've also made these journals for sale too. So I will show you, but you're going to hear the plastic. So if you have earbuds in, you might want to turn it down for a minute. I will show you the December ones, the Christmas winter ones that I have available in my Etsy shop as of today. So here's a peppermint one, and they're all a little bit different inside depending on the paper. But if you go to my Etsy shop, which is Danielle's Craft Diary, you will, I'll put a link down below to it also, and there should be a link like in my profile. But if you go there, there's a video for each individual one on what the inside looks like. I always take a video so that flipping through it so that you can see. And some of them, you know, if you don't do Christmas, but you want to do winter, they're not all Christmas themed. You know, this one is winter themed too. It's not Christmas. So I just think it's such a fun way to journal. And if you're a journaler, like I said, I have ones that are every day. So you can definitely journal as much or as little as you want. But for me, I was ready to give up on paper crafts because it was just a lot for me. It felt like a burden, like, oh, I've got to do this whole album. And when I switched to doing this, I just enjoy it so much more now. Because I feel like it's not a to-do. It's not on my to-do list anymore. I got one more that fell. Okay, isn't that one cute? I love that one with the avocados. All right, so I think those are all the winter Christmas ones that I have in my shop. There might be one or two more. But let me show you now the folios that I have available for cross stitch in my shop. I have some fall left, some fall and Halloween, so I'll show you those too. But just for a comparison real quick, I'm going to show you. This is my large size, and this fits the full 8.5 by 11. So this is like an 8.5 by 11. Okay, so that will fit that in there, and you can see your full pattern underneath that vinyl. And inside, they're all the same. So they all have a zipper pocket. They all have underneath a storage, underneath on this side of storage, and then you can put your pattern in here. So 4 different places to put things. Now some of them you'll see I have little loops up here that have rings on them. I stopped putting them in. I got a lot of questions about like, what would you use them for? Initially I was putting scissors, and I thought people would really like, you know, putting scissors on them, and you're hanging your glasses and hanging your threads. But when I started polling people, they were like, yeah, not really. Like, I mean, I'll use it if it's there, but I don't care that it's there. So I stopped putting them in there. So this is my large size. This is my medium size. Maybe you don't want a bigger folio. Maybe you use your patterns on your iPad, so you don't need to have them in that vinyl, that big space, and you like something a little bit smaller. So this would be the medium size. I have a lot more large than I do medium, but if you like the medium size, let me know and I'll start making more of the medium size. So let me show you the medium size. Same thing, just a little bit smaller. All the dimensions are listed in the listings too, and just like with the journals, there's always going to be a video with the listing so that you can see the fabric that's inside also, because I might have the same cover, but the inside fabric is different. Like I think, no, I'll show you. See, I have these two. These are both larges, but the insides are a little bit different. So once your stuff gets in there, you don't really see the insides anyway. So see the difference between the large and the medium. So like this one, that's the inside. And then this one, they're just slightly different. Some of them are a lot different, but see how just the tops, the zipper part, and that piece there, they're different. But you can see all of those details in the pictures and the videos in my shop. So let me just run through. I'm not going to show you the insides of the rest of them. If you're interested in them, you can just look at them in my shop to see the inside. So just for the sake of the length of this video, I will show you what I have. This nativity one. This is Tilda fabric. This is Tilda's new line of fabric. If you know Tilda, then if you're a Tilda fan, you may like these. So I've already sold out of a couple of them. So if you like them, don't hesitate. I love this fabric. Absolutely love that fabric. Okay. Let's see. Like I said, I have a bunch of fall Halloween. The Christmas have been going pretty fast. Almost as fast as I make them, they're going. So I'm trying to put more in every single day. So keep checking back. And usually, not always, but usually I will post them on Instagram. So follow me on Instagram if you're interested, because what I do is I will load them into my Etsy shop and then I will post it to Instagram. So, sorry. So if you see it on Instagram, it's in my Etsy shop if somebody didn't buy it already. But like I said, some of them, they go really, really fast. But there's no way for me to ever predict, like a fabric that I'm in love with, like that truck fabric. I love that. I'm like, why is it still around? I thought for sure that would be gone, but it's not, it's still around. I made 2 of these. And my pile is getting a little high here in front of me. I love the Grinch. Okay. And I'm trying to get some more everyday ones in the store, so bear with me as I stock those instead of just seasonal and holidays. So, all right, let me put these back to the side. Hang on for me one. Okay, I had to refresh. I had just piled some stuff around me, and I like things to be where they're supposed to be. So it's still a mess here, but much better than it was. So that's all of the cross stitch we're going to talk about. So let's go into, I didn't bring any quilting stuff with me today, but like I said, I'll probably do a quilt WIP video. I don't want to know about that one. That one's really bad. So I'm not going to talk about quilts today because it's just going to hurt my heart. But let me show you some of the bags that I've made recently. I love making bags. I absolutely love making bags. The funny thing is, I don't go out very often. I'm really a homebody. I like to be home, do my crafts, do my gardening. I love my house. I love my home. I feel very comfortable here. I have so many things to keep me busy. Why do I need to leave? I can get everything delivered to my door that I need. So it's very interesting that I would make so many bags because I don't really go further than the mailbox or to take the dogs for a walk. Whatever. Anyway, when I do go out, it's fun to use my bags. I love this fabric. I've had this fabric forever and I didn't want to cut into it forever. I just love it. So if you are a sewer, I will tell you the patterns. I'm happy to share all of that information with you. I do sell these. I don't currently have any in my Etsy shop. If you see something that you like if you're like, hey, Danielle, I need that wallet with that Eggo fabric right there, just shoot me a message. Shoot me a message on Instagram because those I actually check frequently. YouTube, I don't check nearly as often, the comments down below, but Instagram I do check often. So if you have something in mind or something specific, you can always message me. But I don't currently have any in there. I'm hoping by the end of the week or the end of next week, I will have some in there so that people can buy them for Christmas gifts if they would like. I'm currently using this one, so I'm not going to show you the inside because my cards and things are in there, but I'm going to show you the inside of another one. That was user error, not product defect, okay? So, I love these wallets. The wallet is called the Necessary Clutch Wallet by Emmeline. I think that's how you say it. Emmeline, and it is, if you are a beginner bag maker, you can do this. You really can. There are a couple little challenges with it, and that's going to be just the ability of your sewing machine. So I put rivets in here. The pattern calls for you to stitch the side up. And if you're using really thick materials, you don't want to use super thick materials for it, but if you're using really thick materials, your machine may not be able to go through all those layers. I'll show you the layers in the other wallet. I told you I love the Grinch, right? So I made a Grinch wallet, and I made this with waxed canvas, which I love waxed canvas. It is so nice to work with, and I like distress stuff, so the more you like crunch it and scrunch it, the more distressed it looks. It's supposed to look like that. So let me show you the inside. So there's a toggle clasp, and then here's the inside. So you have all your card slots here, and then you also have card slots here, and you have an opening here to put all your money if you didn't spend it all on cross stitch. And then you can put your quilting money in here, and you put your fabric money in here, and whatever else. I usually put my chapsticks and stuff in there, but on the one that I just showed you, I put little hooks in there so that I could make it a crossbody, and that's why I undid the strap when I was holding it. But this one is just a wallet. But when you assemble this, you're taking this whole piece here and you're scrunching it into there, and then you're using rivets to get that all together. Now I have a big rivet press. I don't know, I don't like the handheld one, that little handheld one like that you get on Amazon. I don't feel like I have the strength to really get a good seal on them, and I don't know if they truly do get a really good seal on them. So I invested, because I make a lot of bags, I invested in a cam press, and if you're watching this video current, she's having, I think 15% off was the email this morning. So if you look at Cam Snaps, Judy, join her Facebook group, because there's a coupon in there if you missed this sale. But join the Cam Snaps. Don't get the imitation one. Seriously, like, get hers. She's awesome. If you need any help, the dies are super confusing when you first start. You're going to be like, what dies do I need? I don't understand. She will build you a cart. You tell her what you need, she will put it all in your cart for you and send you the link to check out. So when you talk about small business customer service, they really have it. And the name is 100% worth it. Totally worth it. I did buy the knockoff brand on Amazon, and I had them side to side, and I returned the one from Amazon, because especially if you're going to be selling these products, you do not want those rivets to come apart. You do not want this thing coming out in pieces to somebody that just spent good money, their hard work and money on it. So that's the only thing that I would say if you're a beginner. That could be challenging if you don't have a cam press, if you don't have a rivet press. Stitching all of those layers could be challenging on a domestic machine if you have challenges with thicker materials, but some domestic machines can handle it, so you might just have to see. Okay, so here's my wallet, and I just made this one this year because 2 years ago I made my whole Grinch purse again for when I go out so often. But we go down to Tampa and look at the lights and everything, and we do all that stuff. So I will carry my big old Grinch bag down there, and I love this bag. This is the everyday bag. I forget who it is, but if you just Google that, if you like the bag and you Google it, it'll come up. It's a very popular bag. This bag is definitely intermediate, probably. There are a couple things that will be new if you're a beginning bag maker, like the zipper, that inlay zipper. And then there's interior pockets, extra zippers, but you can customize all that if you don't want to put a zipper inside, if you don't want to put a zipper outside. But I would say that if you have a bag or two under your belt, this is a great skill builder, because you can really enhance this bag. Like, I put purse feet on it, so if you set it down, it's not sitting right on the ground. Rivets, the your strap ends. There are a bunch of different things that you can do in here that are a great skill builder. So that's a really good pattern. Since I have my big old bag, and a matching wallet. Some days I don't want to carry all that around. I made this one a couple years ago. This is just a wristlet. I mean, it's a big wristlet, but still, it's just a wristlet. And this is an embroidery in the hoop design. So you would need an embroidery machine, and you would have to have a hoop size that's big enough to accommodate a bag. And this is going to be like an intermediate embroidery project, not a beginner. You got to get a couple other, you got to understand your machine and how things work and how to set up your steps and stuff like that. But in the hoop bags, this is done 100% in the hoop, with the exception, so not 100%, but it can be 100%. You turn it through the inside lining, and then you have to close that lining. Some people would just use double-sided tape to close that lining, and that's totally fine. You could use fabric glue to close that lining too, because even if that lining came open a little bit, nothing's gonna fall out of the bottom. This is all closed. It's just the lining, and it sits right there, so you're not gonna lose anything down in there. But this one has been, it's really been out and about, so it's taken a little bit of a beating there, but I still love it. I think it's so cute, and I always get compliments on that when I'm out. People, I love your bag. And if we're gonna be out for a while, and I wanna bring my water bottle, I've got a water bottle bag too. So this is Lynn's Handmade is the designer, and this is the H2O to go bag. And this is the modified version. So if you go on YouTube and you look for the modified version with the slip pocket and the square bottom, I can make these in no time. If you have a couple bags under your belt, even if you have 2 or 3 bags under your belt, this is such an easy bag with the modifications, because you're gonna square the bottom. Been in the closet since last year. You're going to square the bottom corners instead of round as the pattern calls for. There's a slip pocket here, so you slip your cell phone in there. You throw your money, your license, your credit card, whatever, into the open zipper in there, and you can make the strap, the cushion strap, or not. But this is so easy. I actually just taught our sewing guild, the ladies, I taught them how to make this, and in the couple hours that we met for, one lady had never made a bag before. Another lady, she's sewn, but she's made like tote bags, and they were both able start to finish in that session. So if you're a beginner, that's a really good pattern. Lynn's Handmade, H2O to go. Buy that pattern, but then you go on YouTube and get the hack. So you can't just do the hack, because you need to be able to print the actual template. Okay, so that's all of my Grinch stuff. And I made this bag. This is the Swing and Sling bag by Minky Kim. This is the first time I've ever done one of her patterns. I ended up making 2 of the bags. The first bag I did as written, and she had binding on the inside. If you're not a bag maker, this is all going to sound foreign to you for a minute, but she had binding all on the inside, and I totally understand why she did that. But I have industrial machines, so I am able to go through thickness. Thickness is not an issue for me. So what I did was I put in an interior pocket, and the way that I assembled everything, I was able to turn the bag, I was able to birth the bag is the term, through that pocket, so I did not have to do binding on the inside. I didn't mind the binding, but I prefer to not do the binding, because this is a much cleaner and neater look and feel. So I lined it with waterproof canvas, which is my lining of choice, because you can spill stuff in there, whatever, and it just washes right off. And it gives it some stability, some firmness. And then you have a nice zipper in the front. This is a very great scrappy project, or, you know, the mini charm packs. That's what I used for this. But you have some scraps and you love the fabric line and you don't want to just toss them, this is a great bag. So she has a YouTube video. Also, I'm a big advocate for YouTube videos. I love it. If the pattern doesn't have a YouTube video, a lot of times I'll pass on it. So she has a YouTube video that shows you how to make the bag, and she doesn't, she is right to the point. It's a quick video. I think the video is like 30 minutes. So very, very quick. Okay. Lastly, I started getting into leather work last year. I don't know how it happened, but I started getting into leather work, and I really liked tooling, if you know what that means. I don't have anything here to show you. Next time I'll bring you a bag that I made. And I absolutely love, we are lucky enough to have a Tandy Leather here in Tampa. And I love the guys at the store. They are, and girls, there's a girl that works there too. And they are the most helpful people ever. And that's probably most of the reason why I even am doing leather work, because I just enjoy going there and talking to them and seeing what they're working on and stuff. But I went over the other day because they were having a big Black Friday sale, and I wanted to make some toiletry bags, some travel bags. And so I went over and got a template for it. I've made a million of these, but they had a template and it was on sale, and so I bought the template. It's an acrylic template, and it just made my life a lot easier. But wasn't paying attention, and since I've made a million of them, I'm pretty confident, right? Well, I sewed my zipper on the wrong side. So my leather, this is not real leather, so I wasn't even mad about it. I was testing out the template to make sure everything was the way that I thought it was. And it wasn't. It wasn't the template. It was user error. But I put, this is just some scrap vinyl that I had, fake leather, and it was on the inside. So, because I sewed my zipper on the wrong side, it is what it is, whatever. But I'm actually okay with it, because now if I give this to my husband to use when he's traveling and his shaving cream or toothpaste or whatever leaks inside, he can just wipe it off. I mean, that just totally will wipe down with a wet paper towel or a baby wipe or whatever. So I am planning on making a lot more of these with some of the real leather that I bought during the sale and some suede. So you will see some of these coming to my Etsy shop. Also, I have some in there, some Halloween ones in there, but I'm gonna make some more. So makeup bags, travel bags, toiletry bags, craft bags, whatever you want to keep in them. So, okay, well, thank you so much for putting up with me for however long it's been. I hope you will come back. I hope you'll follow me on Instagram. If there's anything that you want to see, any questions on anything, just leave a comment below. Like I said, on Instagram, that's the best way to contact me. That's where I'm going to be the most responsive. I do have a TikTok also. I'm not on there very often. Honestly, I just forget about it. But everything from my social media is going to be Danielle's Craft Diary. So same as my YouTube username. And, you know, I hope that I get to see you guys again soon. And I hope you hold me accountable for my 2026 goals. But I will be back with some quilting whips soon. See you then. Thanks. Bye.